All right. Well, welcome everyone to another edition of Grateful by Lady Law. This is a podcast where I have the opportunity to do interviews of people that have been mentors, friends, a support system for me. And today we have the pleasure of having Carole Patrick here, Dr. Carole Patrick. Give credit where credit is due. And I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored.
Thank you. So I was trying to remember what year you and I had met, and it had to have been, early 2000s.
I think so.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember, too. I couldn't remember a year. I credit Rick.
Yes.
Right? Our mutual friend Rick, who...
And it was when you were at Buena Vista, and it was when I enrolled as a student. And I remember just seeing you for the first time, and because you were a dean there, is that correct? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, this lady has a presence about her, you know? And I just, ever since then, I've been following you, I've been watching you, we've worked on boards together, it's been just such a cool thing. And what you bring to the community of Omaha, I think people don't understand how important you are in Omaha, and you've been in Iowa, and you've just done a lot for our community, and you are just a very powerful woman who does it with grace. So thank you
for saying that. It's I've really grown into some wonderful opportunities that have been put in front of me within the community, and to be able to do that, and take I don't know that everybody has that opportunity to take your education and your experience and all the and it's like it gets swept up into a dream scenario, and I couldn't be more fortunate in that regard.
That's awesome. I love that you see it that way, and it's just such an amazing story that you have. So what I'd like to do, what I usually do with my listeners, is kind of take us back to your roots and kind of figure out, where did this all start? How did you get inspired to do the work you do? So,
I think one of the things I will mention as far as upbringing, because I really do think it's been a big factor in who I am today. I grew up in a very conservative religious home. Okay. And my parents were, for those who are listening, if you know what the Pentecostal church is, my parents are both natives of Arkansas. They had grown up either in Baptist or Assembly of God, Pentecostal churches, and they were very steeped in that. Mm-hmm. And before we came to the Midwest, my dad worked for Oral Roberts in Tulsa. Okay. And then we moved to the Des Moines area when I was 6 years old. So I really ended up growing up, in Des Moines. But even there, my dad took a position with a Pentecostal conservative denomination. He was not a pastor. Okay. He was an accountant, but he worked in this religious realm. Yeah. And every time the church doors were open, that's where we were. Yeah. But I mention that because my faith today is not the faith of my childhood. Yeah. And I think allowing ourselves to grow in that sense, and the other things that happened with my education and relationships and things that impacted that. And I think some folks can stay in a rut and say, well, I have to follow this because this is what I was taught as a child. And knowing that also has grown along with me is really a big part of my identity and who I am.
That's incredible.
And I had a good childhood. It was there was nothing crazy about it. I was 6 feet tall when I was 13 years old. So you and I are both tall ladies. Yes. And I will always love and never forget my dad pulling me aside at one point when I was younger, and he's like, honey, there are unchangeables in our life, right? And there are things you can change. You can change your haircut, your hair color, what you wear, but your height isn't unchangeable. Yeah. And so let's just work on putting those shoulders back and being proud of how you were made, and moving forward with that. There's no compromise there.
And I picked up on that the first time I met you, because I was like, when you're a tall woman, you identify other tall women, and you had that confidence about you. And I respected you from the very second I saw you for that, you know, because a lot of times tall women don't. They cower.
Yeah,
They,
well, and you probably know,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
come easy. You sort of
Yeah.
want to slump
Yeah.
or, you know, I'll lean while we're taking a
Yeah.
photo so I don't,
Yeah.
so I don't appear as tall.
Yeah.
And gosh darn it, it seems like, I don't know to you, it seems like there's more taller women. Like I look
Yeah.
at the volleyball teams and the
Yes, I
basketball
love it.
teams. I'm
Yes.
6'3" now, and they're taller than me. It's
Yes.
like,
Right.
I seem, or at least I felt like I stuck out a little bit more,
Yeah.
you know, growing
Yeah.
up. So to have a dad who was caring enough and, you know, cared enough.
Yeah. That's
right,
huge.
To
Yep.
to make that difference for me, it was a big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about school. What
School.
Yeah.
Yeah. I so my undergrad degrees are with Drake University in public relations and marketing.
Okay.
I wanted to go into psychology right away, and my dad, big influence, said that was not a. He just didn't think that was a viable. You know, what are you gonna do with that?
Right.
And so I went into public relations and marketing. Some of my first, work I worked with, actually my first job out of college, I worked for ABC News during the 1984 presidential campaign.
Oh, wow.
And I got to travel across the United States. That was the year that Walter Mondale and Geraldine Ferraro, the first female VP candidate,
Oh, wow.
went up against Ronald Reagan, and of course they did not win that.
Yeah.
But I got to meet every candidate for president, Democratic ticket for president that year.
That's so cool.
it
That's
gave-
history.
It gave me a love of politics, even though I would never run.
Yeah.
It also gave me the knowledge to go,
Yeah.
don't run, don't run, just enjoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, working in that realm, and I also worked I was the press secretary for the Lieutenant Governor of Iowa.
Wow.
For a period of time, and yet I never lost that idea of psychology. I felt in a kind of a weird way called to it, and I kept asking myself, could I combine my faith walk with psychology? And there was no one around who wanted to talk to me about combining those things. And so, sort of a weird story. Before I went to college, I was a foreign exchange student in Denmark.
Oh, wow.
I got to live in Denmark for
That's
a year, which was
amazing.
a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful experience. But I met a woman there who became a mentor to me. She was actually an art critic for a newspaper called the Berlingske Tidende. But she was a graduate of Oxford University, and she was always so impressive and so, she was just amazing.
Yeah.
And I had stayed in touch with her over the years, and when I'm talking to her and saying, man, I can't find anybody, who will let me combine these things. And it was almost kind of an off the cuff thing of, well, if I get you an interview at Oxford, would you take it? And I was like, you're so funny,
Yeah,
kind of. And she goes, no, seriously, let's think about this. And she says, now you have to earn it. You have to convince them that you have something worth doing.
Yeah.
And so she literally opened a door for me. I had to first write a paper, and then I was invited to Oxford, and did several interviews about how I could potentially integrate theology and psychology. And so I ended up move forward with both a master's degree and a PhD from Oxford University in the integration of psychology and theology. So I'm a clinical psychologist, but I believe that psychology is theological and theology is psychological. That's kind of the breakdown of it for me. But the bigger part, Mandy, was what it did to my own faith.
Yeah.
Was life-changing because it took me to a place where I had only known like one thing. I had known this Pentecostal,
Right.
conservative, right? And the push there, if ever you took a hard stance on something, a professor would literally say, he would assign you to go write a paper on the opposite belief.
Oh, wow.
And you not only had to write the paper, you had to defend it as if you believed it. All right? Yeah. And then after you'd had this conversation, you know, you write the paper, you do the research, you have the conversation, then he would look at you and go, now go write the paper you wanted to write. Well, of course it had changed.
Yeah.
Because you're allowing these different perspectives to come in and your own thoughts to be challenged. And so there I was realizing that what I had been taught was not the only way to approach a spiritual life, a faith identity.
Wow.
And it changed me. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that foundational to Oxford is what they call orthodoxy, orthopraxis. So, and it boils down to, what do I believe and how do I live? And do they match? Mm-hmm. Because if they don't match, I'm either lying or I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Right? And so gearing down to that, what's my belief system? And it's one thing to say what I believe, but do I actually live it out in my life? Yeah. Is a powerful, powerful thing.
We all need to go through this.
Holy cow. Yeah. It was, and it was truly, truly life-changing for me as a human being, because I came away just knowing how little I had known, I guess is kind of the way to put it. I was so humbled by what I learned of other perspectives, not to mention what I learned about human beings from that psychological, perspective. So,
what an incredible experience.
It's I mean, the education there is unique in and of itself, but I will always appreciate that I had that opportunity.
So you leave Oxford with this newfound education, a degree, and a mindset on life. What do you do then?
I started teaching. I started working as a professor, because I also found in that time, gosh, you're defending your belief system to some of the smartest people in the world at Oxford, and I'm like, I wonder how this would translate. Yeah. And so I started teaching, and I found just a real love, within that of sharing. I found I was decent at it, which is okay
better
too.
Than decent, I'm sure.
And I believe in incorporating a lot of storytelling into into teaching, and that has translated to today, and what I do today, and how you weave the story of who you represent. Yeah. Right.
People remember the stories,
because it's about human beings, is what it really came down to. And so teaching was wonderful for a really long time.
How did you get to Buena Vista? Was that, and I don't want to skip over stuff, but
I was I taught at medical school in Des Moines for a number of years. They gave me this opportunity to create a curriculum for first year med students. And we referred to the curriculum as the caring curriculum, because the idea is what they knew was there's this tendency for those who care for other people to compromise in the care of themselves.
Yes.
And so the premise to the curriculum that I wrote is that, how am I going to put that? Basically that you can't compromise.
Yeah.
when you compromise the care of yourself, you are also compromising the care of other people. That's the better way to put it. Okay, little brain fart there for a moment,
That's
but
okay.
it's like
to summarize it all in one sentence. I'm
to
sure
summarize
it's not
it,
easy.
to summarize it together. But we look at ourselves as holistic people. But I also took what I had learned at Oxford, and I said, okay, we have to look at others as holistic, right?
Right.
And so, number one, as a med student, you can't. It's not the pregnant lady in 405, right? She has a name.
Yeah.
Is there trauma? Have there been trauma in her life that might have affected who she is? Is she a single mom? Is she happily married? Does she have certain belief systems that might impact the questions that you ask her or the way that you serve her?
Yeah.
And understanding that we bring those pieces of ourselves to the picture, but also there's all this uniqueness of every human being. And then if we stay with that scenario, every pregnant woman is not the same.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because every human being has had other experiences. They have other belief systems. They have different relationships. And we can provide so much better care, right? If we recognize that uniqueness of who they are, but also if we, I know what I believe about myself. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm going to live that. If I say I believe in rest, I'm actually going to practice that. I'm going to find those ways. And it's a choice. Mm-hmm. That's really what it comes down to, is it's a choice.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful that was being taught to the first year medical students, because that kind of teaches them right away that's a priority.
Yeah,
you know?
It was a required course for every first year student. Some of them did not like me at all. They did not, and with many it resonated. You're not going to catch everyone. Yeah. But we had some fine debates of those who, it's like, just let me put up a shield. Yeah. And they would say, I don't need bedside manner class. This is not about bedside manner. This is about who you are and who they are. And
by them saying they don't need it, they probably did.
They probably did. Yeah. Those are usually the ones, right?
Right. Now, from medical school, where did you go?
I actually did go to Buena Vista from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had, so in that period of time, I had gone through a divorce, and I had some other offers, but I needed to stay in Iowa. Yeah. That's kind of what it boiled down to. Yeah. And so, even at that, went a little distance away from Des Moines. Yeah. But, so my daughter and I were, I was at Buena Vista for a while, and then Bellevue University for a period of time. Yep. Yeah.
And then you changed things, right? Yeah. You got out of education, kind of. I mean, I feel like you're always educating people.
Yeah.
But
I think once you're an educator, it sort of works that way. But there were a few folks who thought I'd maybe lost my mind on that one because, well, number one, I enjoyed it. By that time, I was a dean also at Bellevue University, and some of my work had boiled down to, this was like the advent of online learning and a lot more things that were happening on our computers. Mm-hmm. And what I found was I was spending inordinate amounts of time with student emails, students who were hiding behind a keyboard and complaining. Yeah. I didn't get the grade I wanted. I don't like the professor. Mm-hmm. I've received a participation trophy my entire life, so because I showed up to class, I should have an A. Right, yeah. And, that's a whole other soapbox we could go on another day. Right. But when I invited them, if they were local and I invited them to come in my office, mm-hmm. if they would sit face to face with me, their story was completely different. Yeah. And it was that hiding behind the keyboard that... Yeah. It was a semi-anonymity, because I didn't have to look you in the eye. Exactly. And share all of this. But when they looked me in the eye, things would change. And it wasn't about me wanting them to change it. Yeah. It was, okay, is this really? Right. Is this really what what you believe.
Yeah.
And was that really, truly the most horrible
Yeah.
professor you've ever had
Right.
in your lifetime or whatever,
Right.
you know? So that's sort of, you know, I will admit I became a little tired, you know, of that. And at the time I was serving on the board of directors for Stevens Center, which is one of Omaha's wonderful homeless shelters. And their chief development officer took a position to go somewhere else. And I looked at that and thought, does this take me to the service of other human beings that I really desire, that my heart kind of longed for?
Yeah.
Does it take me to that a better place of balancing, you know, that faith and that psychology piece? Because in our and this is true nationally, but I know statistically in Omaha, over 70% of the people in our local shelters have mental health disorders.
It's so sad, but true.
And most of them have co-occurring physical health disorders because you've been on the street, you've been living in different, or you know, you've been eating out of a garbage can, or you haven't had socks and you're out in the cold. You're, you know, so many combinations of the physical and the mental health. And so I made this transition. I took a cut in pay. I walked over and became the chief development officer at a homeless shelter, and helped to build, you know, to raise the money to help build new facilities there. I told myself that fundraising was psychology, which honestly it is. It might have first sort of been, that's just what I needed to tell myself, but in truth it's relationships, and it's storytelling. Because when people understand what's really happening, and the opportunity that I had there, I would go down every day to the cafeteria and I would eat my lunch with clients.
I love that.
And I would ask them their story. I would ask them how, you know, are we missing the boat in any way? What do you need that you're not getting? And I was blown away by what brought them to the shelters.
What people have gone through.
What people have gone through. But for the grace of God, go many of us, truly. Some of them, it was because of divorce and so many families living one paycheck away from disaster. Disaster strikes and you don't have the money. Okay, I just got a divorce and I don't have the money to pay a deposit on an apartment. So I'm in the shelter system and I'm still going to work, you know, and I'm living in a homeless shelter. There's that piece. Then there's the mental health piece. There's people who literally made a choice between, do I eat, do I take my medication, do I pay my rent? What an awful choice to have to make. And generally the first thing that happens is you go off your meds. You know,
because they're very expensive.
They're
usually.
very expensive, and so I'm going to go off my meds. And then when it's mental health, often people will spiral out, and they would end up losing their home anyway. And so they come, you know, to these shelter systems very, very broken, you know, in so many ways, and what a humbling thing.
I don't want the list. So many listeners may not have known what the Stevens Center was before the big remodel. I had the pleasure of being at. It was literally like just a house on Q Street. Is it on? Q Street. And I went there one time, I think, to donate something or something. And, you know, and it was it was literally just like a house with
very unassuming.
Yes.
Very unimpressive.
Right, but
it has grown so much now. And I go back there still. And
how many floors is it now?
Oh gosh, 5.
Yeah. And that was
in permanent supportive housing,
and your work and your fundraising and yours, so much of what you put so much into that.
Yeah, and to be able to see that now, and then where the leadership that's there now, as they've taken it even further, and there are a few people who. I befriended those folks I had lunch with, who I still stay in touch with.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And they'll text me, or they'll, I have permission, where I can just go and have lunch with them again, or, stay in touch in some way, and to see them transition, is an absolutely wonderful thing. Yeah.
The work matters.
It definitely matters. It definitely matters. The connection to where I am now, if we could go there.
Yeah, let's go there.
When I went to Stevens Center, so VNA, which was where I am now, Visiting Nurse Association, has a nurse in every single homeless shelter, domestic violence shelter, and group maternity home in Omaha and Council Bluffs. And so I got to know the nurses who were there and who were working at Stevens Center. And then VNA had this a very similar position open up as far as a chief development officer, but much larger organization, a much larger budget, in the sense of like a challenge of okay, I'm going from a $3 million budget to a $30 million budget, right? And then it was not just about the homeless shelters. It was about providing health care to marginalized populations within our community. And so I started out at VNA as the chief development officer, and I was, I got to calculate here, 4.5-ish years as chief development officer, and I became the CEO of the organization 2.5 years ago.
Well deserved.
And it's such a fulfilling life, that to go to work and know that we're impacting, right? That people's lives depend on us. And it's not for everybody, it's, I say, so we have all these amazing nurses, and we have others, we have social workers, we have, so many other people, but nurses can write their tickets about anywhere, right? I mean, and those who choose to say, I am going to work with the poorest people in our community, that takes a special person, and you're not gonna earn the kind of money that you're gonna earn working on a hospital floor. But it's not an insulting salary either. It's a competitive salary. But the VNA model is, we have no clinics. Okay, we do not have clinics. We go into people's homes. Okay,
that's what I wondered. Okay, and to educate the listeners, kind of how do the nurses find the patients? What's the connection there?
They can either self-refer or a lot of people within the community refer to us. So, and when I say we go wherever people call home. Okay, the homeless shelters, that people call that
a big
home,
one,
right? But the other major programs we have a huge program in parenting. We go all the way from healthy pregnancy, healthy childbirth, lactation consulting, and then we will stay with a mom up until that child is 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And doing parenting education, working through some of the aspects of poverty, overcoming some of those obstacles that folks have faced. Overcoming some of the pieces, like if I was never read to as a child, it doesn't occur to me to read to my child. And so helping mom and dad understand the power of reading books. And sometimes within the context of that, you end up realizing maybe mom can't read.
Yeah.
And so then we get to teach mom to read so that she can read with her children,
Yep.
right? The other end of the spectrum is older adults. And this one very much hits my heart because my 89-year-old mother lives with me,
Yes.
and I am her caretaker when I
Yeah.
go home, right? But the aspect that VNA focuses on is helping senior adults stay in their homes, right? Because as you age, are there things we can help with that allow you to remain at home? Because not everybody can
Yeah.
afford to go to an assisted living facility, or nor might they want to,
Yeah.
right? But if a bath aid makes a difference, if medication management makes a difference, falls are a big deal for older adults. So can we help and say, okay, by removing this rug or whatever we need to do. And then we have funds from some donors who, if for example, we have a low income older adult and they would benefit from a shower chair and bars that are put up in their bathroom, right? We have the money to provide those things, and we've got the handyman to go put them right to make sure they're up and properly affixed. And so helping folks remain within their homes can be a big deal.
Yeah. Now you mentioned donors. Is much of the funding through donations?
Right, 85% of our budget
Wow.
is donated.
That's incredible.
We have right now a $10 million budget,
Wow.
and 85% of that is donations. Yeah.
That says a lot about our community, doesn't
It's
Yeah.
Omaha is so and Council Bluffs
Yeah.
also, this area, such a generous community, and really truly want to impact, want to make a difference. And so that comes back then, and what's kind of a theme through all of this is it's relationships. It's telling the story, because people give to people, right? They don't, they want to maybe know what your mission statement is and how you go about some of these things and how much of your money you're spending on true human beings, right? But when it comes down to it, when you can weave the story of who we are serving and why we are serving and the impact that we're having with them, it makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now you have an event coming up.
We do. I'm kind of going to preface it with this. I'm not a huge event person because the return on investment on events is not always a big deal, right? But this will be, our event is Art and Soup. We have one event with this organization, and it's Art and Soup. It is our 29th year this year for this, and all of the money that we raise goes directly to that shelter nursing program. So all of that money puts VNA nurses in homeless shelters, domestic violence shelters, group maternity homes, and it's you've been there.
Yes,
it's a very
several
well
years.
attended.
It is.
It's really unique. There are no tables for 10. There's no auction.
Yes.
There's
You can come and go throughout the day.
you come and go. The restaurant, so we have usually right around 20 local restaurants, great restaurants within the community,
Some of the
right?
best.
And they donate all of the food and their time, and their chefs are there, so you can interact, with the people who made the food. And then it's an indoor art festival. And about every mode of art you could imagine, right? Jewelry, glass blowing, sculpture, woodworking, you name it.
It's all there.
And every artist who comes there has committed to donating at least 50% of their sales.
I wasn't aware of that. That's
to
incredible.
us. Yeah, so any art that anybody buys while they're there, 50% of that goes to the shelter nursing program.
That is incredible.
And so you have to think those artists, right, of what the compassion that they have, to come into and do that. And then it's just it's very festive, you know, and it's a fun event.
It's a great venue. Is it the same?
It's Omaha Design Center. Yep, downtown.
When is it this year? What date?
March 8th. So
Okay.
we always do it on a Sunday afternoon, primarily because that makes it easier for the restaurants.
Yeah.
Right. So we do it on a Sunday afternoon, and you might think, oh, downtown, or you might think Omaha Design Center, is there parking?
Yeah.
There is free valet parking.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
You can pull up there. We've got somebody who pays the valet bill.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a donor who pays the valet bill, and then recognition to Kiewit. They have a parking garage across the street, and they donate the utilization of their parking
That's
garage
fantastic.
to us.
I've never had a
So-
problem finding parking. And then you walk in the front doors, and then there's all the restaurants are set up in the perimeter, and you grab your cup of soup or your baguette or whatever and then you
Yeah.
just walk around and look at art.
You
Like, it's
start
the best
making
Sunday
your way
afternoon.
around,
Yeah.
and you might think, could I get full on soup? You get full.
You
right?
do, because it's so delicious.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And you can go back as many times as you want.
Yeah.
You get, you know,
Yeah.
a cup, a smaller cup, but
Yeah.
you go around and try all these, and you get to vote.
Right.
You know, you get to, we have a People's
Yes.
Choice Award, but we also have some of the great chefs in town who are not part of the event.
Yeah.
Or we've got like Sarah Baker Hansen,
Yeah.
who does food reviews. She's a judge,
Oh,
and
nice.
they do a blind tasting, and then they give another award.
Yeah.
You know, to the
Bragging rights
soups.
for-
bragging
Yes.
rights. It's actually a stock pot that you get your name engraved on, and
Oh,
you get
that's
to keep
cool.
it at your restaurant for the next year.
That's-
So, yeah.
And one of the restaurants is actually the Open Door Mission, right?
Yes,
Yeah. And
yes.
they always have the best soup. Like, it's
so
good.
amazing.
Yes.
So, and I was just at Open Door Mission yesterday, and I was talking to Chef Ken.
Yeah.
And I was laughing at him because he goes, "Are you here to tell me I'm not in the?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here to fire you." No, Ken. He's always so gracious about, you know, doing an interview, some things that we can do just to help people understand what the event
Yeah.
and what the cause is about. But I asked him, he's making Pizzoli this year.
Ooh, that
He's
sounds
deciding whether it's red or green.
We'll see.
But he is making Pizzoli, and Chef Ken, I mean, amazing story. Worked as a higher end chef, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, brought him to Open Door Mission.
Yeah.
Went through their program, and a couple years later ends up as the head of their kitchen.
Yeah.
And has just an incredible story
Yeah.
to share. When people come through that line to receive their food, and he can say, I did it,
Yeah.
and you can too.
Exactly.
I've been in your shoes.
That really means something.
It's such a
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And they serve hundreds of people every day.
Oh, they do.
It's,
They really
yeah.
do. It's such a great
yeah,
organization.
that's so neat.
Hmm.
So neat. So you never turn it off, do you? Like we're talking all this great work you do, and then you go home and you care for your mother.
Mhm.
You're on all the time.
Well, it's you know, I say with Mom, it's a chapter in life, you know, and my dad had passed away. Mom had reached a point where she wasn't feeling safe living on
Yeah.
her own, right? And I don't know, I wouldn't have it any other way, you know, to know that I can provide that care to her. And, you know, hey, I work for an organization I've got all these nurses surrounding me
Right.
who can help me.
Can phone a friend if you need to.
I can absolutely phone a friend. But it's, you know, I think when you're fulfilled,
Yeah.
you know, in life, it's, it's just, I'm just so darn blessed.
Yeah.
And,
You mentioned another great accomplishment you have, and that's Hannah.
I do. I have the best daughter.
She is the best.
I have
yeah.
the best daughter. When she was little, she asked me why she was an only child, and I told her I stopped at perfection.
But it's true, and she's so sweet.
Yeah, she is. She's the best, and
Yeah.
it makes me feel old. She turned 36 this year. She's not my little girl anymore, but she has little ones,
Yeah.
and so, you know, getting to be. I'm actually Bubby. I'm not Grandma. I'm Bubby.
How did that come about?
I said I was fine with Grandma, and Hannah said, "You are no ordinary label.
Yeah.
We have to come up with something different." And so we, a little bit of help from Hugh, but yeah, we came up with something that we all liked that seemed to fit, and it stuck. And so I love hearing Bubby.
That's great. That's one I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, one of the things I always ask my guests is if there's anybody, and you mentioned a mentor back, before you in Denmark. Is there anyone else that that you accredit to being a mentor, somebody, a support system, throughout your life?
Yeah. I'll throw out there so many different professors, who challenged my thinking. But another one I would mention, and I think it really goes to how I was able to embrace not just the uniqueness of my appearance, but it's just like, be yourself, just be who you are. So my mom's mother, my grandmother, who was in Arkansas, lived in Arkansas her entire life, and she lived to be 102.
My goodness.
All right.
Yeah.
And I used to spend a month every summer with her. And she was, she was very a unique woman. And she was, here I am, I'm 6'3". She was pushing 5'1", maybe. She was this little, wisp of a person, but she drove a Toyota pickup truck.
I love it.
She was a seamstress, so she could make anything. When I had Barbies, she made Barbie clothes. She made the most beautiful clothing. She upholstered furniture. When I graduated from Drake, she was driving along in her truck, right? And she sees this love seat that's been tossed on the side of the road. So she stops, she puts it in the back of her truck, and she reupholsters it in leather.
Oh my goodness.
And gives it to me as a graduation gift. And I am telling you, I have photos of Hannah laying on it as a baby. It was indestructible.
Wow.
And I finally gave it to somebody else. And I'm like, the deal is you just have to keep giving it away.
Yeah.
When you're done with it,
Pass it
just give it away. But I think her happiness, her self-sufficiency, her just like, I'm gonna be who I am.
Yeah.
It rubbed off on me in a good way. I think it helped me not be. Again, it was like the height factor maybe, but it's also just, god dang, just be who you are. And I love that. I just really, really loved her. Yeah.
You're one of the best problem solvers I know too. The way that you, you tackle a problem and just look for the solution, and I see that in so many of the things you do. We were on the board together for Circle Theater, and I've had Fran on here before. Fran Salou.
Hi, Fran.
So Circle Theater is theater for the community for disabled people to incorporate the theater and the arts in that way. And I know that a lot of times, when we were sitting on the board, you were a problem solver, and you were also such a leader. And is there any other areas? Are you on any other boards, or what else have you done in the community?
I'm on 2 boards right now. I am on the Hospice House board.
Oh, wow.
Actually, VNA is part owner of Hospice House. And so Hospice House is an absolutely amazing organization. And so I'm proud to represent our ownership there. My other board, wonderful institution, is Tri-Faith Initiative.
Oh, wow.
And for those who may not be familiar, it is the only place in the United States where 3 different faith communities are on the same land. And so there is a Jewish synagogue, there is a Christian church, and there is a mosque. And then there is a nonprofit that is the initiative, that where the responsibility of the initiative is more to bring to enlighten this integrations of how faiths can integrate. And there's a new imam at the mosque. He's been there a year maybe, and I remember going in to listen to him and sitting there and going, there's so many similarities between what he is describing and what I believe as a Christian.
Wow.
So many.
We're not so different, are
And
we?
we are not so different. And to be able to recognize those, right? And hopefully to be able to be part, within the community of helping other people, recognize that, and having that imam and the rabbi and the reverend from the Christian church all as part of that board, that I'm on. I'm also benefit because I'm also learning, within the process. But supporting them is a great thing. And if you don't mind me kind of going back to the problem solving deal, something that I've carried over, and I think it's from the Oxford. Well, it's from the Oxford experience. But I read in a book, and I so wish I want to give credit to the author, and I apologize, I'm not remembering her name at the moment, but she talks about the beach ball theory, and it's that term and the way she describes it is the antithesis of how I approach leadership and problem solving. And so if you imagine a beach ball with all the different colors on it, right? And if you came to visiting Nurse Association right now and you walked around different people's offices in the cubicles, you would see, I used to get like big inflated beach balls, and now Amazon has like these little tiny ones. So I've gone to getting the little ones. They're easier to manage. But you'll see little beach balls all around. And that's because when I meet with people, I talk to them about how we make decisions as an organization, and with our leadership team especially, because I can say, hey, to our CFO, you're the green, right, on the beach ball, and you are so green, and we need you to be green, right? We need you to represent us. We need you to hold us accountable. But the HR person is yellow, okay? And we love the fact that she's yellow. But when she's talking about something and you're talking about something, and the I don't know, the head of health services is blue and the head of Easter Seals is orange, and we need to be able to represent, right, what we know. And it's kind of like when you're in class and you think, well, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm not going to be that person who raises my hand like 2 minutes before class is over, right? But if you don't do that, we miss out on knowledge. If you don't share, or if you say, well, the last time I shared, so-and-so jumped down my throat, so I'm just going to be quiet. You're robbing the rest of your team of the ability to make the best possible decision, right? And so I'm probably not describing this in the best way, but if you think of all those colors with the beach ball, that's our organization, right? And we can make the best possible decisions if we know and consider all of those pieces. If we just know about the blue and we're just making a decision based on the blue, we're probably making a bad decision.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
And so getting people to realize the power and the significance of what they hold in their knowledge and in their experience, because that goes beyond your leadership. It goes to every employee in the organization, to give them the right to ask for information, to ask any questions that they want, and also to say, hey, have we ever thought about doing this? It makes us better. If you're willing as leaders to consider it. Right.
And I'm sure that's why every program that you've been part of has been successful and has grown, because you have this theory of leadership that has really helped incorporate all the people that
it's grown over time too. And it's I think you and I joked about this, and Rick, if you're listening to this, we love you. But our mutual friend Rick, he's he's so great at challenging,
Yes.
right, mindsets. And if you're not willing to surround yourself with smart people,
Yeah.
if you're not willing to challenge, surround yourself with people who will play devil's advocate or who will just purely disagree with you,
Yeah.
You're missing out.
You are.
You're
Just
really
like with your
missing out.
Oxford experience, looking at the other side and having to defend it.
Yeah,
You learned
you're
so much.
missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're incredible.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And the basis of everything that I hear is you care about people. Like that's what it's been
That's
this
what
whole
it's
time.
about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
human beings.
Yeah.
It's human beings
Yeah.
and who we are together, how we are together. Yeah.
Thank you for
Oh.
being here.
Time has gone fast.
Time has gone
Thank you
fast.
for having me.
You're welcome. Is there anything else
Thank you
that
for embarrassing me with your red
No,
cheeks.
you deserve all the praise.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to share with the listeners?
Oh gosh, I feel like I've talked too much
No,
already.
you're
but
good.
no,
Come to
thank you.
Art and Soup. That's
Come
the
to
number
Art
one
and
thing.
Soup.
Yes, you will not
Yes,
regret it. It
please.
is amazing.
March 8th.
Yes, all right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you, Mandy.
And thank you to the listeners for tuning in to Grateful by Lady Law. You can find us wherever you watch or listen to your favorite podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcast, just anywhere you watch your favorite podcast. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.
A Huda Media Production.